Well, the house was built about 1599 by Sir Edward Devereux, who was the MP for Tamworth. The Bridgemans then subsequently bought it from him. They added the third storey and then lived here until about 1762. There was a thought perhaps that it could be used for housing, so they started to survey and then realised they got a very important relic of the 17th century, 18th century gardens. The hall has subsequently been sold again and is now a hotel, and all the different outbuildings are in different uses, mainly commercial offices. The children's visit today has shown them how the family used to live and how everything that they needed was either grown in the gardens or was made in buildings on site, like the bakery and the brew house, and how different it would have been to actually live here to how modern day living is now.
My name's Charles Bridgman. I am the younger brother of the Earl of Bradford. Our family seat is at Weston Park. It's now looked after by a charitable foundation. Had a wonderful childhood here, which will always stay with me and will always inspire me.
Well, Weston Park's been the family home of one family continuously, right from very early times, from the medieval period up until 1986, which is when the present Earl of Bradford, the 7th Earl, gave the house to the nation in lieu of tax.
We had a lot of fun as children, playing in the grounds and up the Temple Wood and down the Shrewsbury Walk.
We learned about Castle Bromwich and Weston Hall Park.
Yeah, and we learned about different people who live there and
the Bridgman family.
Yeah, the buildings are really big and it's really interesting to see what's inside.
It's so important to have a dream and to follow it.
The Spitfire, probably the most iconic and most remembered aircraft for the Battle of Britain. The Spitfire that you see behind me, most of which were actually built and assembled in Castle Bromwich. This one, Spitfire Mark I, is the oldest in the world.
Thousands of Spitfires were built on that side of Castle Bromwich, and they used to tow them across the road to the airfield to do the test flight.
The Spitfires were tested in Castle Bromwich,
where our school is, so that's like kind of cool.
We learned that where our school is, that used to be a Spitfire tester place.
I've enjoyed
all of it, really. Yeah.
And it's going to be a two-seater. And firstly you start off with a plug like that, then you lay glass fibre mat in and you just see it. If you glue that to the mid sand it till it's flat, and underneath this
Too much matching every step.
I've got it here, so as you walk in it's going to go up. So what did you do?
What's the French flag on there?
Yeah.
Jamie's off down. She goes.
Okay. Is it deep down there?
It goes down about 6 feet. But then don't turn left, whatever you do.
Don't turn left.
Why?
You'll see.
and this is where the
Some people try and put it on like that, but it's better if you put one over each ear, it's a lot better. Bend that around, the microphone boom around, so it's just about touching your lips.
Okay, so this is the House of Parliament. House of Parliament has got two names. So it's called the House of Parliament and also the Palace of Westminster. It was originally built as a royal palace, and the oldest remaining part, like I said, is Westminster Hall. This part here, finished in 1097.
This is our building. By ours, I mean all of us. This is one of the most famous buildings in the whole world. It's the building more than any others that in the Second World War the German Air Force was determined to try and destroy it because of its fame, and it's the home of democracy, basically. But at the moment, you're in a House of Lords committee room. How do you know it's part of the House of Lords? Red. It's red, that's right.
We visited Castle Bromwich Hall and Gardens, the original seat of the Bridgman's family. We were given a guided tour around the walled gardens, which were beautifully designed to not only impress any visitors, but also provide a practical source of food. This would have provided work for many gardeners planting and tending all the vegetables, fruits and plants. The family have now given the garden to a trust, and their volunteers showed us around this walled garden.
Castle Vale was a national pioneer. Back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, the government of the time's key regeneration programmes was called Housing Action Trusts. There were only ever 6 of them created in the country, and one was here, Castle Vale. See where the Centre Park nowadays is, where the 8 biggest tower blocks were built on the site of a former airfield. But what you ended up with was a high-rise estate. So there were 34 tower blocks. Much of the high-rise housing had been built with new methods of construction which didn't really stand the test of time. As you come in, the Spitfire roundabout, that was actually created by the man Tim Tolkien.
The reason I was appointed and the reason I worked here was because I wanted to explore and use art and to get people engaged and get people talking and to help change and explore their own lives. An aerodrome was built after the First World War and it was in the middle of the countryside, Lord Austin in 1940 was asked by Churchill, remember you've heard about Churchill, obviously. Churchill, we were in a crisis, the Nazis were going to invade the country, and they decided that a new type of fighter plane was required and some bombers. We all assembled at the Jaguar plant where these beautiful cars, there's a whole stream of them. We had the CBSO on the grass opposite the Spitfire, who were playing marches from the Dam Busters and other war themes. And we had crowds of people there.
We're a group of Year 9 pupils from Greenwood Academy, which used to be called Castle Vale Performing Arts College. This is a project designed by the charity Leaps and Bounds, which whom we have been working with since Christmas. We are researching the area in which we live and go to school to not only learn about the heritage of what we live, but also how this has an impact on our own lives. It is being funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund and Awards for All.
Well, I can't go through another boring project. I just can't. Who says it has to be boring?
Well, if you've got a way to spice up an essay entitled What Makes Castle Vale Unique?
Meet me at the entrance to Farnborough Park. I think I know a way to make this assignment a little bit more exciting. It was the sound of a Spitfire. Low at first, and then every moment it intensified. So loud, it knocked us all to the ground. But there was nothing in the sky. No earthly presence had made the noise we heard. We were alone.
Something's coming.
I say we run.
Too late!